Okay, so the first book I'm going to show you guys that I read this summer was The Flower Quilter by Mindy Steele. This is my first time reading a Amish fiction novel by her, so I was really looking forward to it. This one is about an Amish woman that was born into a family of quilters, but it's not something that she wanted to do as a living for her. So instead she wanted to trying to see here what it said that she wanted to do. She wanted to do some other hobby, I remember. And it took her parents a while to accept that. So basically she did that, and then she met the love of her life, and it basically talks about that. So I did rate it 5 stars on Goodreads and all my social medias. So if you're looking for a good Amish fiction novel to read, I highly recommend this one. This is book 1 in the Heart of the Amish series, so it's really good and I highly recommend it. The next one I read was book 1 in a series that I won through Books Forward. It's called God Bless the Child by Anne Shaw Henrich, and this one was basically about a woman who sews, and she's sewing, but her main obsession is eating. And sorry, my rabbit is making noises and I don't know why, because my cat is not near her, so I apologize for that. That's why sometimes I can't film right away, because things are going on. But with that being said, she's been hungry since she was a child, and when she becomes a woman, she craves something far more delicious. She wants to have a child of her own. So she helps a friend that ends up pregnant after a church basement encounter. So it talks about rape in here. So if that is something that triggers you, I don't recommend reading this book. But if you like the story, I would say read it, and just take your time when you do read it because of the trigger warnings. But this is a really good book. It's from Speaking Volumes. It's book 1 in the Women of Paradise County. I really want to continue this series to see how Mary and Pearl and Pearl's baby Elizabeth are doing now. So I highly recommend that one. The next one I read, which I'll be donating because I didn't care for it as much as I thought I would, from Bookish First, is There Is a Door in This Darkness by Kristen Kesher. This one is basically set during 2020. It's about COVID and all that. I think that's why I didn't like this one as much, because I just feel like the COVID storylines are just getting tired and are drawn out too much, because we all lived through COVID 4 years ago, and I don't think we want to go through that again. Which sadly, COVID has come back in my area. There's a lot of people, when I'm shopping, they're wearing masks again, and the COVID vaccines are being ramped up, advertising on TV and online, so I really hope COVID's not fully coming back. But this one I didn't like. I rated it 2 stars, I think, and I'm going to donate it because I just didn't care for it. It also talks about the 2016 election, and we all know how that outcome came. I'm not going to speak on that because I know a lot of people don't like talking about politics, so that one I'm donating. The next one I read was Mary's Calico Hope by Anne Blackburn. This was book 2 in the Heart of the Amish series. No, maybe it was book 3. I think it was book 3. But I really liked this one. It was about an Amish woman who's been paralyzed because of a buggy accident when she was a child. And then this calico cat comes and she adopts it, and she finds the meaning in life again. So this is a really cute, heartfelt read. If you have a chance to check out the Heart of the Amish series, I highly recommend this one as well. The next one I read, which was given to me by my great aunt last year, was 3 Stories in One about Toss the Bouquet. I really liked this one. I thought the stories were really cute. Basically about having a wedding in the summer and spring. So I read this in the summer thinking it was a summer read, but it wasn't. So next one I read, which I liked, which I got from Beaufort Books as their reviewer, is The Seafarer's Secret by Carol Ann Collins. This was basically about a detective who's a widower and he's trying to figure out why this local woman drowned. So this one was basically a thriller with a little bit of mystery to it, but I really liked it. I rated it 5 stars. I will definitely be reading more by Carol in the future. The next one I read, which I didn't really care for, that I won through Panathon Books, is Reboot by Justin Taylor. This one was basically, it reminded me of 2005's Laguna Beach meets The OC. So I had high hopes for this because it's based on like a reality TV show. But I didn't like it because I felt like there was too much swearing in it, too much drama, and I just didn't enjoy it. So that's why I'm going to be donating this one as well. Next one I read, which I didn't care for and I'll be donating as well, is Public Secrets by Nora Roberts. Yes, I know I'm a big Nora Roberts reader, and sadly this one was not my favorite. I felt like it was dragged out a bit. There was some backgrounds of the characters I just didn't agree with, so that was a main reason for me to rate it low and donate it. Next one I read, which I loved, this one was my second one by this author, is The Girl from the Hidden Forest by Hannah Linder. I rated it 5 stars. I really liked her, The Garden of Midnight by her that I read back in the spring. So this one was really interesting about a girl that she stays hidden in a forest as long as she can remember. Her father is a captain, and it just talks about why she's been hidden in the forest. Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you guys all the books that I read this summer. So this is my end of the summer TBR video. It's crazy that fall is starting on Sunday. I'm filming this on Monday, the 16th. So I'm just winding down from summer and getting ready for fall. So with that being said, I'm going to show you guys my summer TBR. Okay, so like I was saying, I really liked this one. It made me feel like I was in 1940s England. I highly recommend it. It was 5 stars for me. The next one I read, which is 5 stars, which I have pretty good luck with her books, is 15 Minutes by Karen Kingsbury. This one was basically about a musician that goes on a reality music competition like American Idol, The Voice, America's Got Talent, and those of us who grew up in the 90s like myself, Star Search. So I really liked that one. The next one I read was The Juliet Code by Pepper Bassam. This one was a mystery about... Hey y'all, so I'm sorry I got it cut off earlier. My phone didn't have enough minutes to film, so the video is gonna be like 10 minutes long or whatever. But anyways, as I was saying about the Juliet Code, which I have right here, it's basically a mystery about this couple that goes on an Italian honeymoon, and they find out about there's these thieves that are stealing these famous paintings, and so they're trying to figure out who's been stealing them. So it basically talks about that, which is very fascinating. This is actually part of a series, so this is book 2. I'm wanting to read book 1 and book 3, so I'm hoping to do that in the fall. But I did rate it 5 stars on all my social medias. I really liked it. This is one of my new to me authors. of the summer, so I'm really glad I read this, and I really like Pepper's books. I actually requested another book by Pepper, and that will be coming sometime this week, I think it is, so I'm looking forward to that. So the next book I read that I really liked, which I got through, I think it was through Books Forward, is The Cul-de-Sac by Liz Crow. This was my first time reading a thriller mystery by her, and I really liked this one. The characters were all over the place for me. Some of them did crazy things, but I really liked this one. It's basically about this cul-de-sac community that has new neighbors move in, and when the neighbors move in, they're told that the house they live in now, a murder happened. So then they're a little leery about it, but it basically talks about darkness in a marriage and friendship, desire, betrayal. There's an affair that happens in this. So it makes for an interesting read, but I really, really liked it. Now, the next one that I read, which I didn't plan on reading because I'm not a big memoir reader, but I really enjoyed it, and I could really relate to it because of what happened to my dad when he was sick in 2021, which was A Manicurist's Daughter by Susan Liu. What her mom went through wasn't what my dad went through, but the nursing and the care management, what care management did to him is what her mom went through, and so I could really relate to that. It talked about how the United States needs to fix their medical in hospitals and that, and to not rush patients out when they think they're ready to be moved. Okay, so the next book that I read was The Hotel by Pamela Kelly. This was my first time reading one by her, and I really liked it. It's set in Nantucket. I've never been there, but I've always wanted to visit, so I'm looking forward to reading more by Pamela Kelly, and hopefully going to visit that area sometime in the future. The next one I read was Sandra Brown, Smokescreen. I really, really love this. I devoured it in like a whole weekend, I think it was. I still have to watch the movie that this is based on, but I'm looking forward to doing that in the fall, and hopefully I'll like it as much as I did the book. The next ones I did, which were nonfiction, and they were basically devotionals, was Uncluttered by Lane George. This was a book tour book that I did with Traveling Pages tours. I really like this one because it has little activities you can do, like when you're decluttering and all that, which I do want to write down those activities on separate paper so I can do that when I do my summer clean out, because there's a bunch of summer stuff I have to get rid of, like clothes that don't fit me anymore and all that. So I want to do that. And then I also did this devotional by Missy Robertson. Basically it was just, you read the Bible and there's a verse and then you do like an activity. So I rated both of these 5 stars. I really liked them. I'm hoping to read more by these authors in the future. The next one I did, which I'm not a big sci-fi reader, but I really like this one, was Vaulting Through Time by Nancy McCabe. With my Bookish Jeopardy team this month, I've really been talking a lot about this book. So I'm hoping one of them will actually check it out and read it for points for our team. But this one I really liked, and I hope to read more by Nancy McCabe. I really liked that this was about a gymnast that has to vault through time to help her family. I just thought that was such a touching aspect in this book. The next one I read was The Anniversary Waltz. This one was given to me by my great aunt last year. I really liked this one. I definitely want to read more by Daryl Nelson. But this was set in 1946 and basically about a military man that returns, and he sees this young woman that he met at a festival a few years ago, and they reconnect and get married and all that. The next one I read was The Summer Brides by Susan Wiggs. This one was a really good one. I wouldn't say it's my favorite by her, but it's still a decent 5-star read with, I think it's got 2 or 3 stories in it. Yeah, it's got 3 stories in it by Susan Wiggs, Cheryl Woods, and Susan Mallory. So if you have if there's any time you want to read a book that has 3 stories in it, I highly recommend this one. Next one I did, which was a reread, was The Catastrophic Histories of You and Me. I received this a few years ago as a Christmas gift. Okay, so, like I was saying, I reread this one, which is The Catastrophic Histories of You and Me. I received this as a Christmas gift a few years ago, so I reread it and didn't know if I'd still like it, but I do. I forgot that it's very grief-filled and about death, so my emotions came in. Lately, my reading's been based on grief and dealing with a parent's loss, and so, which I can relate to since it's going to be 3 years ago that I lost my dad. So I can really relate to books that talk about that. Not necessarily what he went through, but they talk about like death and that. So this was another 5-star read. After 5 years, I still like this book. I really like Jess Rothenberg's writing style. I read The Kingdom by her, which I really liked. This was my first book I read by her. But I really like The Kingdom. I haven't read any books by her recently, like new ones, but I'm hoping to. So the next one I read was The House in Amalfi by Elizabeth Adler. Now, you probably remember a few years ago I read The Hotel Riviera by her, and I didn't care for it. But this one I really, really enjoyed. I felt like her writing style and storytelling got better than it did with The Hotel Riviera. I'm not sure which one she wrote first. I'm going to say The Hotel Riviera probably. So I feel like she improved, and I will definitely be reading more by her. The next one I read was a cozy, which is Kilt Dead by Caitlin Doon. This is my first time reading a cozy by Caitlin, and I have to say I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was funny, I thought it was entertaining, I thought there was enough coziness and enough mystery to it, so I will be continuing this series. This is book 1 in that series, so I'm hoping to read book 2 this fall. The other ones I read was The Blessing by Jude Devereaux. This one was basically about a mother who is blessed with a baby, and she's a babysitter in the process too, and then this man comes and, you know, they fall in love and all of that. But in the beginning, she's very stubborn. If she had stayed stubborn, I wouldn't have rated it 5 stars, but she did mellow out, which I was happy about. The next 4 that I read, which was part of a series, which I'm sure you guys have seen my reading vlog for these books, was the Annalise series by Marlene Bell. I absolutely devoured this series in August. I absolutely loved it. I have another book I have to read for Marlene, which is due next week because the release date is October 1st. So I'm hoping to get that read next week and have that review up a little early for her. But yeah, if you have a chance, please read this series. It is so good. It's about an antique appraiser. She works for the mother of her boyfriend, and they go to these different towns and countries to solve murders. It's just so fun. The next one I read was Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clayton. I really like this one. This is my first one reading by Chanel. I absolutely enjoyed this. It reminded me a lot of what my grandma talked about during World War II, what she had to endure growing up in England during that time. So I really like this one, and I will be reading more by Chanel in the future. Next one I read was Capturing Hope by Angela Couch. This was about Nazis that murdered a woman's father in the 1940s. So this is very heart-wrenching, but the story is basically about she's trying to find hope after loss, which I could really relate to. I think after we all lose a loved one, we try to find hope in life and the goodness in life, and sometimes that's hard to find. Next one I read was The Flower Sisters by Michelle Collins Anderson. I really, really enjoyed this one. It's sad that what the story that this is based on, it's sad that the police in that town never fully investigated to find out why it happened that night. But at the same time, it would probably be hard to, since so many people died. But with that being said, I really like this one. So if you have a chance, please check it out. It's definitely a story worth reading. The next one was The Innocent Libertine. I always want to say Innocent Libertarian, but this was 5 stars. This is part of a series, which I started book 1 back in the winter, I think it was, or in the spring. So I read this one. This one is just as good as book 1. I'm looking forward to reading book 3 this fall. Okay, those are all the books I read for June, July, and August. Now, here's some that I read in September and the end of August. For September, I've read Like Mother, Like Daughter, book based on Gilmore Girls. This was only the second book I've read by this author, and I really liked it. I do want to find more of the Gilmore Girls series books. I looked on Amazon, some of them they want like $1,000 for, so I'm gonna just have to look at used bookstores and see. Next one, these were rereads. I did The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and I did Secret Summer Dreams. These I still love. They're still 5 stars for me. I also reread Diary of Anne Frank. This is still a 5-star reading for me. It's still heart-wrenching to read. It still touches me deeply. So I'm glad that that never changed. The other ones I read was book 3 in this series by Raimi Ray. This one I really liked. It was more about pirates and ships and that, but it still had the good mystery based off of the story that she started in book 1. Then I read Low Pressure by Sandra Brown. This one was another good one that I really liked. It was basically about this woman who finds out that her sister died during a tornado on Memorial Day, but come to find out it was actually a serial killer that killed her, not just a tornado. So this was really interesting. The other ones I read was Her Part to Play by Jenny Erlingston. This was really interesting because it's basically about a young makeup artist that was working on a film on the set of a film in her hometown of Alabama, but she needed money because financially her and her mom were short, and so she went and got a job for that, but it didn't work out as well as she wanted, so it basically talks about that. And then I read Vanishing Act by Fern Michaels. This one was really good. It was basically about somebody that vanished during the summer and they don't know why, so the sisters try to solve that murder. Okay, those are all the books that I read this summer. I hope you guys enjoyed seen all the books that I did read. If there's any here that you think you would like to read, let me know in the comments. I love hearing feedback on my videos. I don't get a lot of it, but I'm trying to do that. Make sure you follow my channel, follow me on all my social medias, and I will be back next week with my fall TBR. Bye guys.